On Brands Now today, we are going to be speaking with Ebmo Flow. They describe themselves as a sustainable menstrual product brand dedicated to eradicating period poverty and transforming menstrual care through innovative, eco-friendly products that prioritize women's health and sustainability. We're joined this morning by Kiishi Akande, who's the CEO of Ebmo Flow. Ms. Akande, good morning. Thank you for joining us on Brands Now.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. To start off the conversation, this is very interesting because what you said Ebmo Flow does is, and these are the words that jump out to me, eco-friendly products, as well as eradicating period poverty. Can you speak to us about what this is essentially the mission of your company?
In Nigeria, as a country who is suffering from a lot of economic issues, as you can imagine, a lot of women don't have the money to go and buy menstrual products. A lot of women do not have the access to affordable menstrual products. So that causes period poverty and women using less sanitary means to stay clean during their period. So Ebmo Flow essentially uses sustainable products. So instead of having pads and tampons, we have reusable underwear and menstrual cups. Menstrual cups is the alternative to tampons. It's silicone, medical grade silicone, and then you use it, it drains, takes the blood, you pour it out, wash it, and you use it again. It's healthier, it's safer, and it's cheap. So we sell ours for 2,800. So that's the price of one, and it can last you from 3 to 5 years. Versus buying pads every single month. You buy one cup, use it 3 to 5 years, you are safer, healthier, there's no chemicals. So it's a huge change, and I know for some women it's like, that's a bit touchy, do you want to put something up there? There's a lot of conversation around it, but I do believe that it's a healthier option and something that should be considered.
So let's take you back a bit, right? Just so people understand what you mean when you say affordable.
Yes.
You've given us an idea of how much the Ebmo cup is, but perhaps to compare that with what people are using right now, which is, essentially plastic.
Pads,
Pads.
So people use pads, which, first of all, they're not really safe. A lot of them have chemicals in them. And so, for example, I haven't bought pads in a while, but I went to check. They range from about 1,400, I believe, upwards. You might be able to get cheaper ones depending on how many are per package. I think Aya Care goes for about 1,000 naira per pack. The difference is you have to buy them every month.
Yeah, multiplying that by
exactly.
12 months,
so you are saying and some people have heavy flow, so it's not even like, oh, you're buying only one pack of 10. Some people have to do the 14 pack, 16 packs. Some people have to buy way more. So you're buying maybe 1 or 2 packs every single month, and you're times that by 12. And then when we're doing a lot of research, we found out that some women weren't even doing this. We're finding that women were using cotton wool as well. So now if you want your pad to last longer, in a sense, you wear the pad, you put cotton wool inside to kind of absorb the blood. This is not safe. It's not healthy. Cotton wool was not made for this. So we're seeing that people are trying to find ways to cut costs, using cloths, using different things. But it's like, again, this is not sustainable and these are not healthy practices.
Okay, I'm equally interested in the eco-friendly aspect of this conversation, but I'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk the health aspect.
Yes.
I cannot claim to be informed, but what I do know, at least the little I've heard, is that, as you've pointed out, cotton wool is not exactly healthy. With the product that you're offering, how does that ensure that the woman's health is taken care of? And at the same time, it's comfortable, because I get the sense that this is a very uncomfortable time of the month for every woman who menstruates. So how is it comfortable and how healthy is it?
So starting off, a lot of pads have fragrances in them to kind of make sure that you don't smell. This is not healthy. Fragrance should not be in pads. So these have also a lot of pads also have a lot of microplastics. This is also not healthy. So Ebmo Flow is made with the Ebmo cups are made with medical grade silicone. So that means there is no chemicals. They are free from toxins, and it is very comfortable because you really don't feel it. So basically, what happens is they are really small. You put them in, and it feels like nothing. The only thing is you have to learn to put it properly. Right. That's what I would say. It's a bit of a learning curve. You have to learn, and I would always tell people, practice before your period, but then once you get the hang of it, it is very easy and you do not feel it at all.
So when you engage with potential customers, how do
Mhm.
you bridge that that barrier?
Yeah.
Because I expect a lot of women are uncomfortable with.
Yeah, so that's another thing that Ebmo Flow is trying to, one of our missions is really discuss the stigma around periods. For some reason, this is something that a huge population of women go through. So it's like, why is this something that is so taboo to talk about? Why is it something that we keep shying away from when it is something that affects a lot of us? So I'm very open with the conversation, and one thing I've realized is once you start and you initiate the conversation with a bit of confidence, people are more open to speak up about it. If you start talking about it in a shameful way, then people get ashamed. But if you're more like, hello, we have a period every month, some people maybe not as often, these are the conversations that we should be having because they are very important for us to have. Even around men, it's not something that we have to be talking about in hushed tones. So that's really how I just approach it, with confidence. Like, hello, you have your period often, a couple times a year, maybe more. So what do you currently use, and how are you benefiting from it in the long term?
I'm curious about, because we started this conversation from period poverty,
Mm-hmm.
and if you go to, for instance, rural areas, women
Yeah.
are using pieces of cloth which
Yeah.
are reusable. They'll wash
Mhm.
it. It's what they've been doing, what
Yeah.
women have been doing for years, for decades, right?
Yeah.
Generations. How are you able to convince women who might see that as an option? And I'm assuming that Ebmo Flow might not necessarily be for the rural woman, but there are some women in urban spaces that are using that. How do you convince them that Ebmo Flow is a better option?
Honestly, I'm not even against people using cloths and other things because these are eco-friendly solutions. I do see the benefits of using these things as opposed to how harmful pads are. So what I would say is, we also sell underwear as well, but they're a bit more expensive than the cups. So my idea is, you keep using the cloths that you use, keep using the methods that you use, except you can afford something different. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with women using what they can. In the long term, once we're a bit more established, I would love to be able to start donating products to women in rural areas. I would love to start educating more women about things, but we just started out, so it's a bit harder to do these things. But yeah, I think rural people in rural areas, they should continue doing what they're doing. It's working for them and it's safe, it's healthy, there's nothing wrong.
Right. So let's talk acceptance. How long have you been running Ebmo Flow, by the way?
Maybe like 2 months now. Not very long.
Oh, wow.
We're a
Wow.
baby.
You're a proper baby.
You're a very interesting baby, I will say that.
A bold one, actually,
Very.
because the economy is not very friendly at the
Yes.
moment.
Plus, you're in an industry where there are a lot more established brands who have humongous advertising budgets.
Yeah.
How do you reach your target audience, and what's been the response like?
So of course, in this day and age, social media is a huge number one. But what we have actually found is going out to talking to people is still the best way to spread the word. We go for pop-up shows. We've gone for about 2. And I remember my friend's dad had a birthday party, and we went there and we started selling, and it was very good. Like, the women were eating and discussing with us. It was such a calm environment, and we realized we find more success in going to talk to people one-on-one, having the conversation more open than on social media. But we're still figuring things out. Of course, we're still very young, we're still trying things out, but so far it's definitely going on for pop-up shows and going for wellness programs and trying to sell ourselves there.
So just quickly take us through the range of your products
Okay.
and prices.
All right, so we start out with the Ebmo cup. There are 2. So there's the classic cup and the bowl cup. The classic cup is way easier to use. The bowl cup takes a bit more blood. So basically, the way it works is it can last for about 6 to 12 hours, depending on your flow. You will know your body. So the classic cup may last a bit less, and the bowl cup can take you on for longer. I would always advise people to start out with the classic cup. And then if you are someone who has used menstrual cups for a while, or you feel very comfortable, you can go on to the bowl cup, because then it takes more blood, so you're able to maybe change only once a day for maybe on your heavy days. And then we have the underwear. So the Ebmo wear is a bit pricier. So we start out from 6,600 and it goes up to almost 18,000. But this is because it is a bit more expensive to create as opposed to the Ebmo cups. So the underwear I would always advise is more for women who are active. So for example, you know that if you do any strenuous activity on your period, you know you're liable to stains, you're liable to leaks. So the Ebmo wear is perfect because you wear it and I go to the gym with it. I'm able to play badminton with it, and then there's no leaks, no stains, nothing. So I advise them for maybe like a double up protection for women with heavy flow. Also perfect for night sleep. You go to bed, because I don't find pads comfortable at all. They're very irritating. So the underwear is perfect for night sleep, and also it's perfect for towards the end of your period. So the lighter days, so for example, people might have a 7-day period, you're heavy for 3-4 days. The last 3 days they're kind of not really just spotting, but a bit lighter than and maybe deeper than that. So you cannot just wear underwear. So that's literally what it's made for. So instead of having to wear pad so that you don't stain yourself, it's a lighter underwear. It's a bit heavier underwear to wear during your last period days.
All right. If there's anyone listening this morning and they wanted to purchase one of your products, how do they contact you?
Very, very easily. So you can check us out on Instagram at Ebmo Flow, EBMOFLOW. At Ebmo Flow, you can check our website www.ebmoflow.com. You can send us a DM. If you check our Instagram, you'll be able to see how you can send us a WhatsApp message. So that's basically how. If you want to buy our products, you can definitely buy through the website, or if you want to see us in person, follow us on Instagram, so that way when we go for pop-up shows, you can just come, pick your color, pick your size, talk to us. We can give you any recommendations,
right.
any assistance. So just follow us on Instagram, everywhere, Ebmo Flow.
Well,
That's EBMO Flow. Ebmo Flow.
Well, I will say this has been a very interesting conversation, very educative for me as well. Ms. Akande, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Ebmo Flow and Ms. Akande are the guests for Brands Now today. They are focusing on eradicating period poverty by producing eco-friendly products that prioritize women's health and sustainability.